How is everyone? Yeah. All right. You guys ready for this? I hope so. So, before I dive into this, I just wanted to set the context. I look out at this audience. I look out at this crowd. And I would say that most of the people, I don't know, I feel like I have this affinity or this close connection to. I feel like that a lot of you are family to me. Again, I'm going to try and not cry. You guys know I'm a crier. And so I took this presentation seriously. I put a lot of really good, meaty content in there to be genuine and authentic. And look, I think it's going to be an exciting road, but I am going to tell you that it'll probably be an emotional ride for me as we dive into these different case study elements. So I also want to show my family, like this is my purpose, this is my being. When I go into work every single day, this is the people that I think about. These are my moral and ethical compass. This is Avon, Eli, Ryder, and Miles. These are my sons. I have 4 boys and my wonderful wife, Sarah. The ages are 16, 14, 12, and 9. The first 3 are born 2 years apart, 2 days apart in March. And you guys can back into the math. Lake pals then, so we'll give you that idea. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Those guys are it for me. It's been a long time since I've been on this stage. I've always come to front. Pluralsight has always wanted to be a sponsor, an eager sponsor, to be in that prime spot or to be supplemental. It's very, very special for Pluralsight. It's very, personal for me to make sure that we're, growing this community of technologists, product managers, user experience designers, engineers, and the like. And what was special for me is when I walked out. Or when I finished that moment, I could feel this sense of community. I could feel this sense of support really starting to build this deep, deep connection. And then, this commitment to go out and share knowledge. And I think that's what's beautiful about this conference in Utah is that, we have a learner's mindset. Product management, user experience designers, technologists, we have this passion for wanting to share our knowledge. And I would say, as I've gone through these days, yesterday and today, wow, do we just have this incredible community of people so committed to giving away all of their tribal knowledge and sharing it with this team. So I really wanted to, thank the speakers and thank everyone else. They didn't know I was going to do this. First off, I want to thank whoever took this glamour shots image, because on that you can see Andrew and Wade on the left-hand side. So, somebody's got a squeaky bunny. Smile for the camera, and Ben's like, I'm not having it. But in all seriousness, without these 3 gentlemen up here, just the overall mission, vision of Front, and just the absolute push of these 3 to build this community and to support this community and to continue to ask companies like us for money to continue to grow it is really, really special. So would you mind? Yeah, round of applause. So in 2015, I talked about directed discovery. For those of you who don't know what directed discovery is, this was a human-centered, philosophical approach to developing products. It was kind of based around developing product experience teams, which are product managers, user experience designers, engineers, data scientists, whatever your core competency is. And I kind of disclosed this framework. This is a framework that I learned, developing hardware products and then hardware into IoT, IoT into software over this, 5-company journey and 3 acquisitions. And I absolutely loved my time, talking to you. And this was 2015, so in January of 2015, that was right when I started Pluralsight. And the talk today is really my check-in with my team, with all of you. This isn't a one-on-one, this is like a 1-on-800, but you'll get it. And I feel accountable. I feel like I want to come back and tell you what the journey was like, going from private to public. What the journey was like from being, 96 employees to 1,400 employees. And so that's what my attempt is today. That's what I want to dive into. That's what I want to, really get deeply involved. I love seeing some of these faces out here. I love all you guys. So this is really about my time at Pluralsight. And, I don't know if you know about Pluralsight. I'm assuming that you do, but, we took the company public in May. We're the world's largest technology skills development platform. And the company was founded by Aaron Sconard, Keith, and Fritz. Aaron is our, president and CEO. This was a really, really tender moment for me personally. I got to participate with James, myself, and Aaron on the roadshow. So I was actually a person, in product management or in technology that was a part. And this kind of shows like where our industry is headed, where our craft is going. But I was asked to be a part of that roadshow to help paint the product vision of where our product was intending to go. And it looks glitz and it's glamour, and I'm sure if you're on the outside of Pluralsight, it's shiny and special. But I also want you to know that, look, this is a case study conference, and I do want to pop the hood and show you a little bit about how the sausage was being made. Is that fair? You guys good with that? Yeah, cool. So this is Guru Pitka. If you guys haven't watched that, it's pretty funny. This isn't actually him. It's a funny meme. I can come across as strong opinions, but I want you to know that, they're loosely held. Like you can change my opinion, probably whichever way the wind blows. But I do want to just make statements out here that are true for me. This is true for me. This is what's worked for me. And then you get to use them and apply them in your own context, in your own way, and then you can change them the way you'd like. And so that's kind of how I'd want you to, go through this experience. And I also want you to know, as product managers and UX designers, I know how much you care. I know how much you deeply care about your products. I'm really no different at all, than you. Because when I look at my product, I just want to fade back into a bush. Because it's just, sometimes it's so ugly, and I feel like we're just blowing it all of the time. It's just brutal. And so I really empathize with that. So let's jump in. So when I walked in the door, this is kind of the team. In fact, this is the team. And to set this up, the people that you see here, this was from 4 acquisitions. So Pluralsight had already acquired nearly 8 companies. Hackhands, one of the individuals, or there's 2 people up here with Hackhands, but Digital Tutors, Code School, Hackhands, and Smarter. And so Smarter is in Boston. We have Florida, Oklahoma, right, and San Francisco. And so there's really only 7 or 8 people here that are core Pluralsight employees. And this is, at the beginning of 2015, so a really small group of people. Why that's important to me is that I want to take you on this journey from like this small kind of startup-y feeling phase all the way to this big enterprise company, and tell you that, like, look, these practices, these things I'm going to talk about, like, you can use these. And it's just the size, scale, and magnitude that you want to apply them at. So the first thing I asked myself was, well, how are we going to work? And it really was, systemically built around values, right, behaviors, and workflow. And my leadership principles have never changed. I think I showed this in 2015. And these are principles that I love to establish with teams right out of the gate. Especially the, live in reality and know each other's world. Context seeking, contextual inquiry. This is, an empathetic, skill or trait that I care deeply about. And, we kind of hold ourselves accountable to these values. Continuous delivery and continuous discovery. So the practices for continuous discovery were directed discovery. The continuous delivery methodology, though, just to kind of peel away, is lean. So we were using lean principles. So that's, Kanban, that's work in progress limits. We didn't, a single piece workflow, only 8 cards, no backlog grooming. If anything was sitting in backlog longer than 30 days, we deleted the whole thing. The other thing is when we did interviews, if an engineer didn't show up to an interview, we canceled the meeting. Like, we were super, super committed to flow efficiency, to the continuous delivery of value to these customers. And we really had to fill the team out. Well, I had to fill the team out because, Pluralsight had acquired all of these companies, as you might have imagined. And so we're trying to blend all of these different emotions together. People had different hard skills. People had different soft skills as we worked together. And, people were like, dude, give me the framework, let's go. And there are other people that were like, and it really was my commitment because I wanted everyone to love Sade. Because, who doesn't love Sade? So a lot, you may have thought when I brought directed discovery in here, we just knew how to do it. And it wasn't like that at all. When we walked into the door and we talked about directed discovery and continuous delivery, it was like these really small steps. And I put the timeline up here. So to do voice of the customer, to capture the voice of the customer and actually how to teach ethnography, to our teams, this was probably a 9-month exercise to get everyone on the same page to learn how to do this. Now, after that, we introduced prototype observation. We call this customer preference testing, or CPT. Add another 3 months to teach a team to build a prototype, put a prototype in front of a customer, not put yourself in the middle of it or create bias around it, and just hear the customer hate what you did. And to teach teams to be like, hey, no, don't lead the customer. You need to listen to what they have to say. This is, you need to hear this as just feedback for the design, not putting yourself in it. And I would say this last part is one of the hardest things, and we're still on this journey. A lot of my teams would not say some would say we're there, some would say we're not there. But CCT was our ability to embed data into every design that we built, and that's all the way down to the server side, so that we could look at likelihood to buy, we could look at retention curves and patterns, length of stay or usage, and we could look at NPS. And NPS has a lot of hot debates around it, so I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. I don't care about the number. I've never cared about an NPS number. But qual, the data, we aggregate, we synthesize, we put that in our user journeys and stories, we match them up in the way that we talk. And it took us a long time to teach the teams. And if you're following that timeline, this is 2 years. This is 2 years of really hard work. And the goal of this was to build shared language, right? Shared workflow, shared context, and ultimately the goal was to relate and feel safe. Sorry. Psychological safety for teams is big. It's something that I care deeply about. And what's great is that my teams have taken this philosophical approach so that when somebody comes in the door at Pluralsight, we are really good at making people feel safe. And so this is my action, one of my call to actions to this group is that, build these practices, build this muscle, and make people feel really, really safe when they walk into the door of your company. And allow to hear and see people from their world, their truth, and their context. So we are much more mature today. Like I said, I gave away this really, simple framework. These frameworks have been built out by the team. This is, published for the world, engineering at Pluralsight. The next document, is the directed discovery framework. And like I said, these slides will be available. My intent here is actually to give this entire practice away to the world and make it open source, and you guys can build your own. This was mine. It was authored by me, but if I'm being totally frank, it is Pluralsight's now. This is no longer directed discovery or Nate Walkingshaw directed discovery. This is Pluralsight's version of directed discovery with all of its nuances, with all of its people, with all of its feelings, with all of its empathy. This is theirs. This is Pluralsight's, process today. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch happen at massive scale. Why would I talk about architecture? And this is technology-based architecture. This is server-side and data architecture. The nuance with architecture is that we all want to work in continuous discovery. We all want to talk to customers. We want to build products, fast. The thing is that when we walk into the door of, these companies, the architecture is actually, is actually affecting our ability to develop the way that we want to develop products. And I'm going to show you our journey. This is not an eye chart. I made up this cool word. This is like one of my favorite slides in this whole thing. So this is mono polyglow, okay, colo clow nimbus. I'll break it up. And this is our architecture journey from 2015 to 2019. And this is what it looked like. Monolith to polyglot. We are .NET and Angular. Okay, and then we migrated over here to Polyglot, which is multiple languages, frameworks, tools, and process. The sidebar here is like, look, this gives us more diversity of thought, more autonomy, more accountability, and hiring velocity. Like we can hire at a blistering pace. So these little bounded contexts are microservices. These are all built with a different language, framework, tool, or process. So if someone's in Node or someone's in Python or someone's in Java, come on and work for Pluralsight, and then you're completely set free to go develop these products at massive scale. See, if we were just .NET and Angular, I could only hire .NET and Angular engineers. And that's going to slow down my ability. If it's monolithic, right, we actually can't run as fast as we'd like. So this is a big, big idea that as you walk into the way that you develop, get deep or understand the type of architecture that you use within your company. Now, a lot of people think, well, this thing was hosted on the cloud, and it was not. We were co-located at Via West. So we actually had to rewrite the entire application onto AWS. And then if you fast forward to today, for those Harry Potter fans in here, I put a Nimbus comment in here. This is like the most ridiculous term, polynimbus. But we're multi-cloud. This is our journey to becoming a multi-cloud. So not just being locked into one cloud vendor, but to build holistic products over multiple clouds. I put data is the new bacon. I don't know if this is really true for me. I actually feel like architecture is the new bacon. And the reason why you see data in the news everywhere is because it actually wasn't architected correctly to serve moral and ethical means and the purpose that it was intended to create. And so that's why I put this in the architecture verticals, because you have to think about architecture, and data is exceptionally useful if you think about how it's being used. Now, this was this rude awakening. This is, imagine 2 years into the company, we've gone through all these practices, all these relatings. We've got a lot of contextual inquiry built between. And I asked myself, do we have a product that does a job? And it was a big nope. And without boring you with all the details, we were business to consumer mostly, right? And small and emerging. We really hadn't gone big into the enterprise customers yet. And we just asked ourselves, could we put somebody through a learning loop? Me standing up here, like I'm doing instructor-led training, but our machine learning teams, our data science teams know that all of you learn differently. High focus, low focus, just in time. You want content in your moment of need on native iOS, Roku, Chromecast, Apple TV. And this was harsh. This was hard for me personally as the leader to understand, man, we have got a lot of work to do to build a product that does a job. The second one was, if we're going to B2B, right, these technology leaders that are using all this digital exhaust that are coming off from these learners, right, want to use this data. And we did not have a product that could put a technology leader through a learning loop. Okay? And the last one is that we have over 2,000 authors, and we build a content tool, and we have to put them through a creator's loop. This is still a journey for Pluralsight right now. We're still building the complete loop out today. And really the hardest problem to overcome was how to message, market, and sell this for product market fit. This was the biggest roadblock. And the reason why is because our product was aimed at learning and development, and we had to shift to selling our product to technology leaders across the world. And that was a brand new way to talk to people. Our product had to do a completely different job. And we had to start really at the core tendency of how we wanted to go do that. And it got ugly, really, really ugly. So I'm going to take an emotional dip here, and then we'll come back out of this hole we get in. So the ugly was, Aaron, our founder, he is an amazing person. And he didn't go to individual contributors, or he didn't blame anyone. He actually looked right at us. He looked at our leadership team. And he looked right at the executive leadership team, and he questioned whether or not we had the skills and the talent to sell to the deep enterprise customer base. And what that ended up looking like, and this is the end of 2015, beginning of 2016, is we had a massive leadership disruption, a huge shift. And my team members who were there at this time know what this feels like. And remember, on the outside, 300 million, unicorn company, just up and to the right. And Q3 of 2015 was not that at all. There were moments, you guys, where I didn't know if we'd make payroll. It was tough. And then what happened after that is we had this brand new composition of leadership that came in. And I don't know if you can feel this quite yet, but I knew what was coming, which is I had to go out and look, at my own organization. Because as we put this new executive team members in here, and you looked at our experience organization, I knew that it would have to evolve. And so this was the evolution of my org specifically, and I'm going to talk to you about why this was so important. So again, 2015, product management and user experience design reported up into the CMO. David Platt, will you just raise your hand? That was your solo PM right there. He was leading the charge. He was leading the front out there, just an incredible leader at that point in time. And then we, shifted to this new idea of resource efficiency versus flow efficiency. And this is, software developers, all of us need to be butts in seats from 8 to 5, and teaching the organization that that's not the way that technology products or how technology products are built. Like flow efficiency ultimately is our ability to deliver continuous value to the customer all of the time. So continuous integrations, continuous discovery, and deliver value. And so in 2015, we started Matrix. So why did we start out in Matrix? Well, none of us had the discipline, the teams, right, to actually holistically build continuous discovery and delivery. And so we had a head of technology, a head of content, and then a head of product. And that was, at that time, I think I was the CPO then, the Chief Product Officer. And we built, product experience teams. We unified those and aimed at the, technology learners, leaders, and content creators. And then you move to 2016, and now we're 200 people. And at 200 people, we're still aimed at the learner. It's cross-functional, but you have vertical teams in Matrix reporting in those technology leaders. So we can still refine the skill, the principle, the discipline of engineering at Pluralsight or product at Pluralsight or how we build content at Pluralsight. And I will tell you that we ran in, and I'm sure none of you guys have ever felt this, but we ran into some friction. Whew. I mean, you know what that quarterly planning cycle looked like. It was a train wreck. We were planning for OKRs. We were in each other's way. We could not get out of each other's way. And what ended up happening is we lived kind of in this, pattern for almost 2 years. And we tried to work, and we tried to work, and we tried to work into it. And then, the light kind of clicked for me, which is, this is not going to scale. There's no way that this will scale inside of Pluralsight. And the way I want you to think about this is all of these groups kind of got pushed to the horizontal motion. You have a general manager now on this far right-hand side for you, and then we have this practices group that I'll talk to you about. And this is how we wanted to build flow-efficient organizations, so PXTs live inside these streams. I have 2 really funny design critiques, but I'm going to be cautious of time here. And this is basically what is living inside of these horizontal bars. This is continuous delivery, continuous discovery, and then we're looking at the rate or the amount of experiences that are shipping per year. And this isn't ship dates, this is outcomes. This is generated around likelihood to buy, length of stay, and NPS. Is the product doing the job and creating the learning loops or the technology loops that we were committed to? And this is a throwback to my gummy worm, like when I was 12 years old. And so this was the 2 different slides that I tried to design for this. They both weren't super awesome, but do you guys get it? Yeah, that was definitely a confirmation. Felt good. I felt like that really got the point across. So what's interesting about this, and I'll build this whole thing out here so you can see what's happening. So if you have product lines, leader, tech leader, and content creator. This is kind of like the Lego analogy, is that honestly I could go build or buy any product in the world, and as long as it vertically stacks, it's built on our infrastructure, it's security by design, all the practices, right, that we need to develop products at massive scale, right, are all being embodied with engineering at Pluralsight or product at Pluralsight or infrastructure and architecture at Pluralsight. This has been wonderful. The practices organization is supporting all of those PXTs, not only in their professional development, but they're also on their career path in development. So like learning how to scale up their craft at scale. My personal opinion is I feel like this is what the future of organizational design needs to look like once you get out of functional understanding of how to actually engineer and build products. I feel like you can really, really maximize the amount of value that you want to ship. And this is the split, is that we care about each and every person, but those general managers are focused on product stickiness, right? And those practice leaders are all about developing knowledge, skills, and abilities for each person. Post-reorg, there was a lot of fear and doubt, right? There was a lot of realignment discussions. There were tons of who are we? The other thing was how do we measure success now in this new organization? And really what happened is we had to go right back to the mission of the company, democratizing technology skills, right? What's our vision and our strategy? Our vision and strategy is a 2 to 3 year cast of what we're committed to, right? And then we had to get into execution mode to feel confidence again. And so I would say the dust is settling 60 days post-reorg. For your context, that reorg was March 1st of this year. And so, hey, just by raise of hands, my team, who's in here? Just by raise of hands. You guys should talk to any and all of these folks just to get an honest, genuine, and authentic experience of how this has gone, because I'm saying that it's gone really well, but yeah, let them be the speakers. Mouth's a little dry. Yep. Okay, so going for scale. These are things that I'm in the middle of learning right now, which I've absolutely loved, is that really letting everything become the teams. The other piece is the accountability around it, is that holding people accountable to what they say they're going to do by firm KPIs and metrics that are aimed at customer value, not intrinsic metrics, but extrinsic metrics on how much annual recurring revenue do we want out of this segment of the commercial business. If we deliver our product in a way that a person sees value in it, these metrics will guide us to creating more or knowing if we've created less value. Autonomy of these teams is huge. And I would say, show up to conversations and team meetings as if you're unoffendable. Allow someone to give you direct, candid feedback about the way somebody experiences you in a meeting and take that as useful, thoughtful criticism and then go out and create a different experience for people. So what's in it for you? I don't really remember the products so much, but I will tell you I remember the people. The people that I work with every single day, I think is ultimately my truth. This OG original crew has dramatically grown. This was year 2. This was year 3. We'll be roughly 550 people. This is just, for those of you who know Gil's over in the content organization, this is just Gil's team. I think Gil's team is 170 people today. So Pluralsight has grown. It's really, really matured, from a human perspective. And so we have to be so much more awake about how we bring people, into the company. I remember moments that we unlocked customers. There's some really tender moment in here. This was a big insurance company going through a huge, quote, digital transformation. And we were really able to help them see a new path to develop, new skills, to transform on the cloud, to develop these practices and principles and get them moving to a completely different landscape. One of the most memorable things for me was, giving women in Jordan, these Syrian refugee camps, identities. So there's a little video here I'm going to play.
بتخيل بأنها تكون متوفرة لكل الناس بأي وقت وبأي مكان، لأنه إحنا كشباب بنحتاجها عشان نلبي شغفنا. هلا برأيي التكنولوجيا ما إلها حدود، فهي بتتقبلنا بكل أشكالنا، سواء ذكر أنثى كبير صغير، هي بتعطينا كل شيء إحنا بنطمح له أو بنحتاجه.
هو مش مجتمع منغلق، هو مجتمع منفتح وبحب الاطلاع وبحب الاستكشاف، بس he want a chance.
This was a great example of us getting out there and really testing to make sure we weren't making assumptions, to make sure that there's value, there's relevance to the product in the place that we are looking to reach.
There was a girl at the lab, she said, "Never in my life did I think I would ever be able to operate a computer. And now I can go on and operate a computer and even do some programming and help develop an app." Just there, she will walk away and have an impact on society because she will leave and say, "I didn't think I could do something and now I see that I can. What else am I capable of?"
So that video was from Pluralsight 1. Go ahead. Yeah. Was from Pluralsight 1. That's our social impact arm, or social enterprise of Pluralsight. And I think, I was heads down, building this enterprise product. Lindsay Canuvan, who's up there, and Troy, they've been heads down on building this big social impact product. But for me, I had this big realization, this big emotional realization that, wow, our product is in 150 different countries. It is touching these marginalized communities. Opportunity is not equally distributed, and we're starting to distribute some of that. And we're watching some of that empowerment happen. And it was a very touching moment for me. It was a very touching moment for my teams to understand what they had created and what they had worked on. And it really fulfilled a lot of the mission, which is, the democratization of technology skills worldwide. We had a lot of laughs. I'd say, for me, there's a lot more crying. There's massive uncertainty. I might come across as someone that's, super confident. Look, it's a really dark place being a leader of a company. And so there's a lot of things that are, running you around imposter syndrome and, are you good enough? And I hope I'm aiming the team, the right way. And, luckily I have this wonderful group of leaders around me, to put me in check. There were times I was scared I wouldn't make it. There was no guarantees. But if I really wished I could do something, I really want to design my feelings, but I can't. I want to design my feelings and let you see what it was really like out there. And it really all boils down to kind of three basic principles for me, which is grit, passion, and a learner's mindset. And those are some big pieces for me. The other thing is all your answers live in questions and how you actively listen. I'll let you think about that for a while. I did. And then relative to technology stacks, data and architecture first. We tend to run, to the edge, the client, because the browser is something that we can see, but really you want to design from the inside out and what's possible, because that will define your workflow within your business. Think of the outcome, then just think about simple iterative experiences. Don't chunk things really big. I know that you probably all know that, but to actually do it in practice is very difficult depending on the architecture that you have. Likelihood to buy, length of stay in MPS, and just be willing to kill things that do not work. Like if it is not working over 90 days and it isn't hitting metrics positively, just get rid of it. We've done really, really great at being able to do that inside of Pluralsight. So this is my call to action to this community. Is really to keep us together. Share your knowledge. Our industry is growing in Utah. Our state and economy and geographical footprint is growing. I don't know if you guys saw this article on KSL, but Utah added a population the size of Weber County in the last 5 years. We have a lot of new people. This conference has grown so much, and I want to make sure that we're, honoring this learner's mindset and bringing people into our community with those same skills. To listen, right, include and love one another. Your voice matters. You matter. Thanks.
The first question, which is really hot,
Oh boy.
generated a strong response. Deleting your backlog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the reason behind that?
Yeah,
Just that it's not important to your team, and someone also said, please tell me you don't actually delete it.
Yeah.
Why not move the stories we didn't move them into a stories we didn't address bucket?
Yeah.
Surely there is still some good thinking and intellectual investment that you should never lose.
Again, strong opinions loosely held. I could be convinced otherwise. To your point, the main reason for that is if it's really important, it's going to come back around again. So, I'm serious. You can ask my team, delete it. It should be deleted. And then there probably is some great tribal IP and knowledge. But if it comes back up again, and if you're talking to customers, we've done 9,000, probably over 10,000 qualitative interviews with customers. Our teams have a really good pulse or a sense of what's important to them. And if it's really important to your customers, and we weren't able to get to it, and it's sitting out at 180 days of groomed backlog, it probably isn't that important. And so, I'd highly encourage 30 days is dramatic, but yeah, 30 days.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you define living in reality?
Yeah, that's great. So, it was difficult to put this presentation together because it's like, well, how do you cover 5 years at Pluralsight or even 20 plus years in product management around living in reality? So the way that the term that I would use for the room is contextual inquiry. So people have their own truth, their own reality, and their own world. And I think we have this idea that our truth, our reality, and our world should be theirs. And I think our ability to actually go spend time over in their world, and you don't have to stay there for long, like 30 seconds, 1 minute. I mean, I don't know how long you need to, but just long enough for you actually to have complete empathy and understanding. More importantly, it's so that people feel heard, that people feel like they matter. And I think once you can feel when this happens, like you can emotionally connect with someone and feel when this transfer happens. And from that place, if both of these people do this kind of contextual inquiry exercise, then you can co-create. Then you can co-create a path forward that feels like it's happening with people instead of to people. And so that's kind of how I would talk about this living in reality aspect.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
A little bit more about the genesis or the catalyst is a better word, the catalyst for the reorg.
Yeah.
What was the friction specifically that you were experiencing? Was it between disciplines? And if so, why couldn't they align?
Yeah, I mean, I really wished I could have, I'd spend 4 hours in a workshop on that specific topic. The thing I was trying to, explain up there is that, when I first walked into the door, and you first walk into the door with any, any company, it's like being on I'm going to use a sports analogy, that's lame, but it's like my coach created like this language for me, and this language was I knew what to do in soccer as a goalie, and that was useful. So when I walk into, Pluralsight, we have to create this shared language or this shared context. So, once we established the context and how we were going to work, that's where the matrix organization was really useful, like for the first 2 or 3 years, because we were hiring at a blistering pace. I mean, in 2 years, 200 people. In 4 years, 4.5 years, are 550 people. So all the new people that come in the door, plus all the people that have been there and your attrition, like you're having to reskill, upskill, cross-skill, move people around teams. That is a lot of work. It is a lot of scale, it's a lot of process. And so Matrix was a really good way, right, to build that muscle. Once everyone learned how to work, that's when you could go back into value streams. So you could basically tip those things on their side, include all of those teams in it because they know how to work, and actually focus on product market fit and stickiness. And then they need to be supported, professionally and personally through career development paths and skill development paths, and then make sure, all these new employees that get hired get the same, implementation. Like we had a lot of teams that did not get the same implementation of voice of the customer, right, or CPTs, or continuous delivery. And that was where the friction was. And then just OKRs, I mean, I don't know if it has to be exhaustive, but OKRs were painful when you're in Matrix, going across product experience teams and your separate data-bounded contexts. So you have to like, hey, will you please do this work for me on this team? You're like bartering back and forth, and that wasn't useful. Is that good? Is that good context? Okay.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Nate Walkingshaw.
Yep.